I'm Maria Menounos, and you're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first installment of the Upload After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. I am your host, Kevin Allen, and I am joined by my brand new friend, Kitty KaBoom.
What's up, Kevin? We are brand new friends, but we're AfterBuzz family, so it doesn't matter. It's all good.
Yeah, it's nice to do a show with you. And especially this show. I'm loving it, personally.
Me too.
Yeah?
Oh my God, I'm 100% in. But I knew when I watched the trailer that I would love it. I'm just glad that it didn't disappoint.
No, it definitely didn't disappoint. I thought I'd like the show. It turns out I actually love it. And it's so involved about tech and having to live eternity in one space. And so it just feels very appropriate for our AfterBuzz life right now.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of, you know what I'm finding interesting? A lot of shows that are now airing kind of include the pandemic thought process or something of that caliber in the show. And I'm like, did I miss something? Didn't this just pop off last month?
Yeah.
Like, how did they know, you know what I mean? Before it all went down that we couldn't be beside each other, that something like this should be implemented in the storyline. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. My last show, we all agreed in the last episode how perfect it was to have during the quarantine, that it was the kind of show we needed during quarantine. I was like, well, that was serendipitous. And now Upload is here. And I'm going, there's something bigger to all this that no one's telling me
most
about.
assuredly. But it's always like Hollywood is very much art imitating life and vice versa. So it kind of makes sense, I guess.
It's either that, or we are also living in a simulation. So let's jump right into this one. This episode, we're just going to get to know everything in the first episode. Welcome to Upload. So we will welcome ourselves to getting to know Nora, Nathan, and Lakeview, the part of the Horizon network.
Right.
So we've already gone over our initial thoughts. I'm having a lot of fun here in the afterlife. The topic is macabre and dark as this one is. This show starts off in a really nice tone with Nora. She's riding the subway and everyone's cramped and it's dark and it's dirty, but she finds glimmers of joy in life, as all people should. Specifically watching somebody else's romantic comedy. So she's a romantic, she's sweet. And I really liked this tone because it's very apparent that the show is going to be selling us about how perfect life could be in this simulation.
Right.
But I like the show introduced with the one thing that might be hard to synthesize are those just little chance connections and moments of joy that you find in our imperfect world.
Of course. I think it's really interesting too that how do you say, like, first of all, television creates a false sense of, I guess, security anyway. You know what I mean? It's TV. So we know that even though it's super relatable in certain instances, it wouldn't necessarily happen like this. I'm of the belief that unless it's like a major drama, like This Is Us, and that's why it did so well, right? Because these are not only relatable instances, but these are things that have literally happened to people, and this is how they would have reacted to those things happening, or how they did react. So when it's something that's completely scripted in a world that we don't even, or that we don't know we encompass either, or that we don't actually encompass, either way, I like the levity that it brings to it, because if it did it in such a way that was like serious, it becomes kind of campy, I guess. Just do you think? Like, what was that movie that had oh my gosh, I love him so much. Oh, I can't think of his name. Anyway, he died. Well, no, he and his little, was that what's called, or big, or
Downsizing?
Say again?
Sorry, he died?
He didn't die. I apologize.
It was Downsizing then. Matt Damon?
Matt Damon. What was it called?
Downsizing.
Did you hear me? I'm like, little, big, one of those.
Yeah.
Right. So they made that life look like it was amazing and perfect. And I think that's probably why it didn't do as well as it could have, because it was like, okay, not only could this not happen, but if it did happen, is this really how it would go down? You know what I mean? I think it appeals more to people when it's absolute, that this could really happen and this is how people would probably react, or where it's a comedy and it just keeps poking fun at itself.
Well, I have a feeling that this show is more in that second, the latter, where
and that's why
presenting us with this vision of a future that's not far-fetched. It's something that we've all kind of dreamed of. It has self-driving cars and food synthesizers and Oprah Winfrey as president.
Right.
And
With
there's a lot
Kamala.
of
Don't forget
fun little
Kamala.
things. Yeah. Oh yeah, she's the VP. Yeah, I
Yes.
saw that. Um, it's but what I love about Oprah being president over Kamala is the more realistic option that we would
Yes,
hope for.
yes,
Whereas Oprah is where it's like we're gonna embrace the camp a little bit and just go just a
yes.
little silly. We're having fun with this.
Right. We're
So yeah,
having
this
fun.
is the future I dream of. Self-driving cars.
Amen. Yes, and
Uh,
that's why it works. That's what I mean. Like, I think that's why the other movie didn't work because it was like none of this is realistic, even a little bit. Whereas this is just like, if Oprah was really down, that would be a dope ass ticket.
yeah.
Obviously, the world is not ready for it. There's no way we'd have a black woman president and a black woman VP. Never. But I love the fact that they're leaning into that as being a little jokey, but a little serious. Like, that would be a dope world.
Yes.
Yeah.
So speaking of dope worlds, Nora works at Horizons. I don't know if they're called Horizon Network or whatever, but it's Horizon.
Yeah,
The
it's
people
definitely
who are
network because I keep thinking
responsible.
they're saying Verizon.
Yeah.
It's definitely network.
Ah, okay. Got it.
Sorry.
But she is one of the assistants or customer service representatives who is in charge of helping uploaded people ease into this new life. So she is very much part of that world, and uh, I will say she lives in it, but she spends a good amount of time in it. It's probably very familiar, as well as obviously our own real world. So she's definitely a character to follow who's going to be going in and out of these doors. And then we have Nathan.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Nathan is a computer programmer of some
Right.
sort, so he's very tech savvy, probably has some position that is relatable to Nora's, but he seems to embrace the real world a little more. Like
Mm-hmm.
he took over his own self-driving car because it's his car. It doesn't want the AI driving for him.
Exactly.
And
Although I did love that interchange between him and the police. That was adorable.
it really
That
was.
was so cute.
I thought it was super cute, and I love that the cop and the drone was kind of like warming up to
Interacting.
his charm. Yeah,
Right, right. Don't you love
uh,
how she stopped and was just like, Car, what's your story?
yeah. Well, the car's got a personality, and like
Yeah,
completely ruined his A game there.
exactly. I
Uh,
thought he was a douche when she first was like, "You mean you're going to give your number to this woman, knowing that you have a long-term girlfriend?" I was like, "Ew!" But then we met the girlfriend, so I'll let you do that.
well, and not just the girlfriend, but something very prevalent about Nathan is that he is not ready for commitment. He does not want to settle down or do anything to establish long term anything with
Anything,
this girl.
yeah.
So, and yeah, and then we see why and we hear why from his friends, but it's more about him to the point where when he dies in that car accident, which
Yeah.
as much as I would love the idea of self-driving cars, especially here in LA, that it freaks me out that he couldn't override that. So
Right.
we'll put a pin in that.
Yeah,
That
because he didn't physically die yet. The option to die was there, right?
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
he got mangled up pretty bad, but like he was conscious. He was
He
he
was able to
wasn't
sit in a chair. That was all weird. With
yeah,
a
like
punctured lung.
yeah. Okay, so they're pushing him down the hallway, and he's a little dazed and confused, but he's speaking perfectly coherently. He
Lucid.
was of sound mind at the very least, and they're handing him this form that's like, "Hey, do you want to like do the old school thing and like try to save your life, or you just want to like go for Plan B just straight off the bat?" And
Right.
that irked me. That's the one thing about this world that really unsettles me is that creating a synthetic consciousness is basically a medical treatment. Like
Mm-hmm.
this will work. Like we're not, we can try to save your life, or we can save your life, but they treat it like that's good enough.
Yeah. I think the reason that they do that is because the understanding that I got was that that's obsolete, right? Like we can try to save your life, like you said, the old school way, and let's, throw the dice and see what happens, as opposed to this, where we know exactly what happened. Just like it's very American of us, isn't it? To be like, we know exactly what's going to go down. We know exactly what you're going to experience. It could be all types of glitches and craziness, but we're not going to feed you that. We're just going to tell you this is bomb. You want to do this. Like you want to be on this side. I don't know what they gain from it. I don't know. We don't know yet if this is like a financial gain somehow for the government or the city or whatever, which would make sense that they would lay a little heavier on that. But I love the fact that they're so like obsolete about what's going. There's no question of if. right? It's like, if you do this, this might happen. But if you do this, you're going to be good. We know because we created it.
Yeah. What gets me is that it's not a last resort. It's
Right.
like, what treatment would you rather prefer? Would you rather us try to fix your lung, or like, it's like, oh, we can cut off your leg
Right.
and try to stop the rot, or we can
Right.
just like, start you fresh in the Matrix. And I just like, that's not the same at all.
At all. But I think they assume that because this is the new world and they're living in a world that does encompass self-driving cars and does have the ability to put people into an afterlife, that somehow the appeal of that will trump whatever else. So you shouldn't ask questions. You shouldn't be like, this is uncharted territory, but we think it'd be good for you. They feel like they shouldn't have to say that. It's like, look, bruh, you could literally die on the table. Why even take the chance? We know for sure you're gonna love this. So just go with it. Just come on.
And
Just
you touched on something earlier about it being an industry. Like it clearly is. They were talking
clearly.
about it before we even got to the hospital, that his girlfriend's family, the whole Kahneman clan, has had generations of unlimited data in
Right.
this afterlife. And my mind went to like, so what's the limited data one like?
Exactly.
How do you have a limited afterlife? That's not cool.
No, but you know what?
But
Remember when he tried to choose the one thing, and Nora was like, "Yeah, that costs yada yada yada." And remember, he gave her the password, and she's like, "It's not going through. It's going to have to be billed to this." So I guess limited would mean that you don't have a bill. You don't. I mean, you don't have the option of putting it on your bill or whatever. That's just like, your telephone plan, right? Like, you can do this, that, and the third, but you can't do everything unless you sign up for all inclusive.
that's an in-app purchase,
Right.
is the coffee. But
Right.
limited data plan would mean like you just don't get to do as much.
Like what though?
Well, there's this whole big resort. So okay, well, let's jump ahead.
Okay.
He signs the dotted line and he's uploaded to this thing and is now committed to this relationship because
Right.
she's the one basically keeping him on life support.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's the first thing he does. He wakes up and tries to go get a cup of coffee, and yeah, the mini bar charges you. Like, it's just like living in a hotel.
But not.
Yeah, exactly. But I remember them saying that, oh, you could go on hikes, you can go on walks, you can swim. There's all these activities. So I assume like it's like he has free reign of the resort. That's the unlimited data. He can do everything that the resort offers. But the mini bar still charges. That's an in-app purchase.
Yeah.
So I don't spend a lot of time in swanky hotels, so I can't think of other examples. But I feel like that's what unlimited data means, is you are free to roam the whole grounds and do all the activities.
Right, but you just can't.
In-app purchases are like, oh, if you want brand name soda, you got to do this. Or if you want a pool noodle for the pool, then you got to do this.
That's the impression that I get as well. Like, if you're in a swanky hotel, let's say you stay at the W, you can't just go into the W and say, I'm going to rack not only the mini bar, but whatever purchases. They have those in-room purchases, and you can get this, you can get that. And if you call downstairs and be like, I want to go swimming, but I forgot my swimsuit, the W will probably find you a swimsuit. But obviously, you'd have to pay for that. I get the impression that he would say, I don't have a swimsuit. And they go, yeah, that's not in your plan. So even if you wanted it, it wouldn't be available to you.
Yeah, I was freaking out at. Yeah, I think you're right. Like, but the whole concept boggles me, because when he reached for the mini fridge and it was like, oh, you have to pay for that. I was like, so does he have to pay to eat all the time? And he doesn't.
Right.
Though. There is that like continental breakfast, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Apparently. So I'm like, so why do you need the mini fridge?
Why do you even care? Because there's always more. There's always better. Again, underscoring the whole American dream, right? I can go buy clothes. I can go to the thrift store and with $100 come out that joint bowling. But I can't go to Neiman Marcus and think that that $100 is even going to get me a keychain out that joint. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the option is there for you to not walk around naked, but we're not going to give you Gucci.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the impression I get. I could be wrong. We're still learning.
I think it's pretty spot on. This is just such like a 1%er's heaven that I'm like, I have no context here. Like, I'd get so sick of living in this hotel after a while. Like,
that is exactly where it is. Yes, Elon Musk will be there. Bezos will be there. Puffy and them, all them, they're gonna be there. Exactly. It's the impression I get too. Like, you can have water, I guess. We'll take it from the tap and here you go. But if you want Perrier, bruh, we're gonna
Mhm.
need you to come up off some coin or whatever their currency is.
Yeah. Well, it's coin. It's actual money in this currency. Uh,
Yeah.
so Nathan's having a hard time adjusting on day one. And he gets to meet Nora, so they have their first real interaction.
Right.
She's his angel, helping
Mm-hmm.
him to adjust and cope, and I feel like he handles it fairly well, just because he's a down to earth guy, and she
Yeah.
probably is why she's so easily charmed by him, because he's
Yeah.
not
He's very
one of these.
charismatic.
Yeah, I mean, he's charismatic, he's handsome, but he's also not one of these, like, the one percenters who are.
He's not a
He's
douche.
not Elon Musk, who has no
Exactly.
like ground in, like, yeah, I'm used to having a butler whenever I want,
Right. He's very grounded, super grounded. I mean, you
Yeah.
saw his family's house. He got there. I love the fact that there was like every ethnicity at the table. I'm like, would you adopt all
Oh
of these kids?
yeah,
That was kind of fresh, right? I
we
like
did.
that part.
Hmm. I
And you
love
could just
his
see it was a
niece or
modest
whatever.
home. It looked like an apartment, not even a house. So he probably was brought up like middle class, maybe even under middle class. And he's working clearly as like, I don't want to say a robot, but he's a keg in the, how's it go? Cog in
A
the,
cog in the machine.
there we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He works at a pretty hoity toity situation, but he's not like running anything. He's not telling people what to do. He's not holding board meetings. He goes in there in like his jeans and a sweatshirt and does his job. So my point, I would assume that he's accustomed to just being what we would consider regular, right? As opposed
Yeah.
to, like you said, the people that probably come across the table to Nora are like the hoity-toity schmorties, I'm sorry, have we met? Why are you talking to me? Kind of people.
Yeah. And that's not to say the whole hotel obviously is filled like that. He meets his neighbors, and they
Yeah, they
seem
seem cool.
like wonderful folk. They're very helpful and just happy for him
Yep.
to be there. And then also the other
That's a
guy.
gay couple, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
that's the impression I got.
Yeah, that's what I got too. I just wasn't sure.
Yeah, it was
Not like they make out,
they
but
had like they had like the Connecticut sweaters over
matching.
there,
Yeah,
like,
keep that.
yeah, and they definitely were a couple. I think they mentioned that was like love in the afterlife is
Yes.
what keeps them. So I forget what it was. I'll write it down next time. But so not only them, they're really nice, they're wonderful and very helpful. But then he also meets the former veteran
Mm-hmm.
who comes down too late for breakfast as well, and like teaches him to hack. And so this was guys like, oh, okay, cool. This is another guy that Nathan can relate to. He's a little more
Right.
down to earth. Uh, he he's not there to like, all right, fine, I'll have my virtual butler whip me up a breakfast. He was like, no, I'll just slam the coffee machine until it fetches me some Joe or whatever.
Yes.
I
Again,
really like this
comedy. I
guy.
love the comedy part. Yeah, it's very comedic.
And then he gets to go out and experience Lakeview, and we as the audience get to experience what the afterlife is like. So,
Mm-hmm.
what were some of your first impressions, other than that it's like a 5-star resort?
Well, yeah, that's pretty much all I got from it. Like, I wasn't really, I guess there'll be more, but in this very first
Mhm.
show, I felt like it was a little, I want to say overwhelming. Not, okay. I love the visual, clearly. It's gorgeous. I mean, we all want that, right? And I liked that he was able to, if he wanted to, get into anything. Um, I guess I just feel like they didn't give us enough information to really have like a sound. I don't know. What do you think?
So, walking around the resort, it was one of those things that every time I come from a theme park background. I'm used to working in theme parks and entertainment venues and such, and I've gotten spoiled for that because I'm like, well,
Yeah.
there's other people here. Like, I don't want to wait in line.
Right.
So I kept noting that, like, you're spending eternity in the same spot with the same tourists all the time, and you can't really get away and go be alone on like these hiking trails because they're everyone's hiking trails.
Right.
He goes up there and he finds this guy vlogging. I'm assuming back out into the real world, which I loved. I love that idea that this guy was doing the YouTube thing, but
Yeah.
from beyond the grave.
Right. Well, I guess all of them have to have, well, not have to, can choose to still incorporate. If they're able to create life for themselves in that respect. I guess people that are still here would be fascinated to learn what is the afterlife like. This
Oh,
is what you've chosen to.
absolutely.
Yeah, so that's smart. I mean, I can imagine how dope that would be. I'd much rather watch a vlog from somebody that's dead and now back alive than Kim Kardashian makeup tutorial. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah,
I
that I
can't be
can do.
dead. But the same guy points out some stuff that really concerns me as if I was a participant in this afterlife. That like
Yeah,
the water is a gift, so it's not real. Like it's just the stuff that reminds you it's not real. The
yeah,
water is a gift. The swimming lags. There's glitches. It's supposed to be the perfect afterlife. And granted, he is. And keep in mind, he is in the like top dollar unlimited
yep,
plan,
yep.
like the creme de la creme of afterlives, and this one's riddled with glitches. That's
But that
not
goes back to what we
cool.
were saying, right? Like, given the opportunity, you're not knowing anything about the afterlife except what
Mhm.
they've told you about it. You
Exactly.
know that you
Right.
could die, but you also know that if you don't die and you make it, you'll still be here on earth, which you are completely cool with. You've been here 20 some odd years, maybe even he's 30, right? And in those 30 or so years, you've learned how to navigate life, what things you can take advantage of, what pool you're in, which class, and all that stuff. Like, you know your way around. But in this life, you have no idea. But what do? They tell you, oh, you're going to be fine. Oh, you're going to love it. Oh my God, are you kidding? It's the best thing ever. That sell right there, that upsell is
Yeah.
going to always happen because I don't, like we said, we're assuming that it's a coin, and knowing America, it's probably a coin. They just didn't get into the details of how that goes down. Like, how do they make money off this thing? But let's be very clear. They know all the intricacies, but they only tell you what they want to know,
Of
very
course.
much
It's a
like the world
product.
we live in. But but we know it. We know, okay, so we know there are going to be certain injustices in certain areas. We know that there's going to be disproportionate numbers being reported about our current situation and who's suffering the most and all that sort of stuff.
Hmm.
Is because propaganda. They want us to know what they want us to know, because the bottom line is always money. We want to open things back up because we want to let y'all live a healthier life on the outside. No, because we want you to buy. The economy's tanking. You know what I'm saying? Like, we know what's happening as a result. The choices that they make, we can see through that BS because we live it. If you're in a whole different realm that you know nothing about, there's all kinds of
Hmm.
glitches and craziness that nothing's perfect, nothing. And that's what I think it's showing us, that there's no perfection here, but let them tell it. There's so, like, this is what you want to do, bruh. Like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you choose this? Because it's perfection. This is like, but you don't
Yeah.
know. So you're like, okay, I want to go with the
Well, so the skeptic in me, it agrees with everything you're saying. And as I'm watching this, I was like, I don't trust a word of this. Like the fact they hand him the user agreement and he's like, I haven't read it yet. But
Right,
like, you ever downloaded an app? You never agree to it. You just have to go to it. You just have to do it.
right,
And
right.
I was like, but this is a crazy big
This is a
decision.
big deal. And
So,
they keep acting like it's not a big deal. Don't you love that part? They're just like, what do you
oh
want to do?
yeah,
What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Well, freak,
no,
I don't know
that
what I want to do. I don't know what this means.
I I could get into that, but I will save that conversation for another day because
Okay.
the just the first bone I'm gonna pick is that like everyone is being sold this product, and it's a product, and it's a product. If it wasn't for the fact that Nora, someone who works behind the scenes and thus gets to see what people have bought, like
Right.
legitimately, and all of the bugs and all of the dirty parts of it, she
Hmm.
still supports the idea of being uploaded. And she's trying to convince her father to do that as well.
Right.
He is like me, he's old school and is like, no, like, I'd rather just not deal with all that.
Hmm.
Um, and it gets a little heavy with him and brings up some good points that his wife, Nora's mother, had died years ago
Right.
and was not uploaded. So if for him to go into this virtual existence knowing that she wouldn't be there, that's not enough for him. So why
Hmm.
bother? But Nora would be there. And so she
Hmm.
probably finds fault in that, like, well, you and I could still be together. Like, I'm going to lose both of you then.
Yeah.
So, so, but what I'm getting at is that even someone who is a customer service representative for the service,
Hmm.
like, if the customer service representative supports it, then it must be good.
I don't know
Uh,
that I believe that it's a good 110% because she supports it. I think for
mhm.
her, it's more like an ends to a mean or means to an end. meaning that if there's no guarantee that I'm going to see mommy again if I die the traditional death. There's no guarantee that you're going to see mommy again yourself if you die the traditional. We'd like to believe that we're all up in heaven and we're just up there kicking it, bowling, you know what I'm saying, having a little drink with God, whatever. We don't know. But at this, she knows this though. So it's kind of like, isn't that kind of dope how they juxtapositioned it, where he doesn't know and he's in it. She knows because she works in it, but she knows about the glitches and stuff. But what she knows is that it's better than what she doesn't know. Does that make sense? Like dying a regular death, she don't know. This death, she knows there's gonna be, but I know for sure that I still get to go swimming, and I'm gonna see you, Daddy, if you come with me.
Well, so that first of all, I love the point you made about pairing those two perspectives up, that they're completely opposite. Brilliant. I did not catch that.
Yeah, but I didn't catch it till I said it. Trust me.
Oh, great.
It wasn't, I just thought about it out loud. Like, yeah, that makes sense that this would be this and this. But that's good TV writing. I love good shows with good writing.
So the scene that I really liked with these clashing perspectives is he, like I probably would have, lost his mind and was like, this isn't real. This is crazy.
Right.
I can't be a part of this. And goes to kill himself, essentially.
Yeah.
By throwing himself into the torrent stream and just be
babe, are
blown
you
into
on show
bits.
too?
Huh?
Are you on show too?
No, he goes on the hike. The guy points out the glitches to him.
I'm sorry. On the hike. Gotcha. Sorry.
Yeah, and he's walking up to the torrent stream, which he's been told is a way to, like, if you step into that, you, like, people think they can go back home through that.
Right.
Which I know is like super naive. Like, back home into what? A server?
Exactly.
But what happens is they get blown to bits. So he's on his way up there. She's notified by a coworker that, hey, your new guy's freaking out. So she jumps into this virtual reality to talk to him face to face.
Right.
And the speech she gave him was really compelling. Like I said, I was watching this with skeptic brain.
Yeah.
But hearing what she said, I was like, you raised some good points about the nature of consciousness.
Yeah.
That you think, therefore you are. So you are real. This is you. This is your life.
This is your life because you're in it. So 2 points with that being said. Not only does she work for the company and she wants to keep her job and she wants things to go smoothly. I mean, who wouldn't? You want your paycheck, right? So she's gonna smooth over. She's gonna kind of talk him down off the cliff, literally, figuratively.
Yeah.
But also, I think that she genuinely likes him as a human being, or thinks she likes. She doesn't know him, but she thinks she likes him. She likes what she sees. So it's almost like I'm gonna do my job. I'm gonna do it well. So I'm not lying to him necessarily, but because I'm a compassionate person, because I'm a dope human being, and I care about people, like I have a genuine empathy for others, I'm gonna do my best to just try to get him out of his head and help him to just bring it down a notch. Because here's the thing, just as you said, rational or not, we as human beings, when we're in frantic or desperate situations, we don't think rationally. That's not how our brain, it's fight or flight, right? So with the fight mentality, he doesn't have it anymore. He doesn't even know what he's fighting. He's like, I'm up against this unknown and scaring the out of me. So do I take go back into something that I don't know that either, but that could possibly be something familiar to me. I'd rather do that than stay here where I'm literally overwhelmed. So she's a dope ass human being. Like, she's a good person. So that, coupled with the fact that she works there, I think that really helped her. Not saying that she wasn't being genuine or that she wasn't making complete sense, because she was. I'm just saying I think that's what helped the argument.
Well, I think Nathan pointed out that the passion and conviction in which she spoke of these ideas was so real that there was no denying that she meant it and that she's a human being. There's nothing was synthetic about her or her feelings.
I agree.
I do think there's a third angle, though, that she was coming at it with. I bet you she has had this conversation with her father already.
Yeah.
So he's opposing this idea that, like, this isn't a real death. This is not the afterlife. It's a fake afterlife that people have constructed.
Right.
It's not, because that's how I see this. I have a little bit of a philosophy background, and my idea is always, like, you can't be uploaded into a program because that's not your soul. It's data synthesizing your behaviors. But like she said, you think, therefore you are. That makes you real. That gives you consciousness.
Exactly.
And her father must have had a different perspective
take
on that.
On it.
And so she's probably really sunk this argument into herself
Right.
over time.
Absolutely. And the bottom
Yeah.
line is her father does come from a different generation. So
Mhm.
even if he's 1,000% familiar with how it works on the land that he's in the world that he's in right now,
Yeah.
again, the unknown probably scares the heebie-jeebies out of him. And I think Therefore I Am probably does not resonate at all. This is probably a man that is deeply convicted in whatever religion he was brought up in, right?
Mhm.
Well, she's ethnic.
Mhm.
I don't know exactly what I'm assuming. I don't want to make any assumptions.
I
Anyway,
don't think it really matters. It's just a matter of he has that faith.
he has that faith, exactly. And with that faith comes the idea that your soul should not be equated with synthesis, period. Whether or
Mhm.
not I'd be dope happy there, whether or not I get free breakfast, all that, none of that is as relevant to me as meeting my higher power, going into a consciousness that allows for everything that has nothing to do with buttons.
Mhm.
Like I want to
Yes.
be right. I want to have a consciousness that allows me in my afterlife to live whatever it is I'm supposed to live. If it's worked this far, this long, why would I put myself in a situation that I'm unfamiliar with? Just so that I can say I can wake up with you every morning. Not to say I don't love you, my daughter. I do want to wake up with you every morning, but what suits my soul, I wouldn't be happy there is the point.
Yes.
How would I be
Yeah.
happy there when
Yeah.
I'm living, right, a synthetic life? Yes, but if
Mhm.
you believe that's what it is, then that's what it'll be. Yeah, no, not for me.
That's something that Nathan did say that I think it was this episode. This is where you might catch me on that. I watched the next one. Uh, oh yeah, it is the next one. Nah, okay. Uh,
Yeah, but
Nathan is
there's
a
a big
positive
difference
person.
in terms of. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, just spoiler alert. Nathan is a positive person. He believes that if you think positive, then the universe will reciprocate.
And that is awesome. I am of that belief as well. But when it comes to something as huge as death, something that we do not know the answers to, how can you make definitive decisions about those things without having like a core belief? You know what I mean? Like his girlfriend clearly is like flighty, whatever she is. She's superficial. She's a lot of things. And so I think that's why she leans into this because it's like, oh my God, I still get to buy Gucci. Like that's all she can, you know what I mean? As long as the outside stuff is still intact and looks good, then sign me up. Where do I go? I want to do this. I can still be amazing. And I can still be in my body, just it's outside stuff. He's more
Yeah.
concerned with the dad, that is Nora's dad. And I'm assuming Nate is I'm sorry. What's the boy's name? How do I forget his name?
Nathan.
It is Nate. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm all over the place. That Nate is of that same belief, like deep down inside. It is more important to me to be at peace with myself and my higher power.
Well, so you go ahead. Finish your thought.
No. Go right ahead. That's what where I'm going with that.
Yeah. Nora's dad, for him, it's faith and love. That's what is most important. Nora's not far off. She definitely cares about her father, so there's definitely love there. But I feel it's for her, it's more about relationship.
Yeah.
That's what's strong. We saw in the very beginning, her watching the phone, that she's a romantic in that sense. She is building a relationship against her own intuition with
Mhm.
Nathan. So that's what keeps her connected to people. She wants her father to stay there because she loves him, has that relationship, and she's really into Nathan and is so passionate about saving his life because they have a rapport now. Nathan's
Mhm.
thing is independence.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be hunkered down or hammered down by his girlfriend. He doesn't want to commit to anything. He just wants to live his own life. And now he gets to do that, but within these confines.
I was about to say,
So
but
that's
there's
his
all kinds
struggle.
of caveats, right?
Yeah.
That exist
And then as
within
far
that.
as his girlfriend is concerned, I feel like what matters most to her is her. She's just self-centered. That's just what
Oh,
it
no
is.
question about that. It's very me. Very much
So
America.
oh yeah. I love this show because it does pose these big philosophical ideas, but it does it
Yes.
with such charm and wit and just some straight up funny moments. Just stuff that
Exactly.
you should laugh at, but is just hysterical. And
Right.
I'm here for all of it.
Oh, I'm here for
Um,
all of it as
but
well.
the other fun part about the show is there's a murder mystery plot.
Hmm.
That intrigued me. Why did his car fail him, and why were they forcing him so much to
Exactly.
get in the afterlife? There's a little bit of this mystery about why
Intrigue.
Nathan died, that his memory files are corrupted.
Right.
Going on. But we'll have to talk about that in the future.
And big ups to, again, the director, well, the writers and the creators of this. Very, very, very smart people, obviously, that are able to make it multi-layered and not make it campy, not make it like, oh, they're doing too much. You know what I mean? The writing is excellent. The comedic, as you said, elements, they're even surprising. And you're like, wait, this should not, I feel like a bad person for laughing at this, when in fact it's meant for, comedic relief. So I'm here for all
and
of it
Greg
as well.
Daniels, the show creator, he's a huge comedy background. He's The Office,
awesome.
King of the Hill, Simpsons, Saturday Night Live, Parks and Rec. So comedy's his forte, but now he's getting a little deeper, and I dig it. Speaking of the behind the scenes of the show, did you have a news story you would like to share with us?
Thank you so much, sir. Great segue. I did. I learned that our main character, who's pretty awesome and such a cutie pie, was in that one scene where he's strapped into the chair, and they're like, good luck with that, and rolls up that what it looks like, just like a, what does it look like to you?
The big tray.
Yeah, big tray that they bring around.
Yeah, so he's in the upload. He's about to be uploaded in the hospital.
Exactly. So it's supposed to be filled with ice, so that once they do the upload, he literally just falls into it, and his body is kept on ice before they take him to the next level. Right. So I understand that was not his body, that there was a stunt double there so that he wouldn't bust his face. It was not real ice, first of all, it's fake ice, but it was a stunt double, so that was not his butt. That was someone else's butt that was shown.
Okay.
The stunt double's butt. Yeah, in an attempt to make sure that he stayed safe for the next scene, I suppose.
That makes sense. Yeah, you got to keep the lead going. I watched that moment, and my two thoughts were just how hard that hit was. Like, face planting, a perfect comedy pratfall with his mother and his girlfriend screaming after seeing his head disappear. Like, just the darkest of humor all at the same time. It was quite the whammy for comedy. And then my second thought was like, oh, that's a real person. And how embarrassing for Robbie Amell. But okay, so it's not him.
That's so funny that men and women, right? The second thought that you had was definitely my first thought as well. Like, that's a real person. That really, like, they just slammed into that. Yes, I did think that. But
all the meat jiggled.
Right. The second thought, I'm gonna keep it 100, was like, finally, some gratuitous men's body parts. Like, yes, please, more butt from boys, more front part from boys.
I noticed throughout the episode how I was impressed how well they managed to like cover the nipple and keep everything PG-13.
It was very cute.
It was some amazing choreography, or maybe some CGI was involved to like fix some stuff. But I was like, they're doing they are walking right up to that line.
We need the whole family to watch this. Are you kidding me? More people will sign up for the show if we can bring the kiddos in too.
Yeah. I mean, they towed right up to the line and pulled it off masterfully. But then when it was just like full butt crack, I was like, that's okay. That's great. They've been dancing around nudity all episode long, and they're like, full ass.
I love it.
Man.
More butt cheeks, please.
So I thought it'd be fun to do a special segment for this particular episode because we are diving into a brand new world and then a brand new afterlife. Like, there's a lot in this future that is new and exciting.
Right.
And I talked earlier about how I love the self-driving cars. I just think that's something that we desperately need. So this one did malfunction in a pretty hardcore way. So Kitty, let me ask you this. What was your favorite thing from this show's, the vision of the show? What's on your future wish list?
Okay. So I don't know that I would put it on a wish list because I don't know how good for me it is. I have two things. And I hate to sound so cliche because I'm sure everybody's going to say self-driving cars. But I really need that in my life. Like I'm not a reckless driver, but I've been driving so long that I literally sometimes multitask when I'm driving. So I'll like drive with my knees to be able to do stuff.
Oh, goodness.
I'm really good at it. That's not a car.
Hey, you made it this long.
Right. I mean, I'm really good at it. I'm not proud of it. I should not do it, but I do it. And then my second thing would have to be the fact that you're able to like look into other people's worlds. Or is that only Nora because of her job? Because I get
Nora for her job.
like that. Oh, well, that's on my wish list. I want to
Like
just be
you
able to
can
tap in and
visit
see
your
what my son is
family.
doing.
You can visit your family because he made the phone call. You can call
Yes.
people in
Yeah.
the world and check in. So they're not dead or in heaven. They're just on
Mhm.
vacation.
No, but I mean in the real world, you know how Nora can tap in and literally like see this guy's everything. And then
Yeah.
you know when he was playing around with his niece
Oh,
and she
look in the
saw
memories.
that?
That's only because he died and they had to upload his consciousness. So that's something specific to the
Okay.
Rising. But I see where you're
Thank you
going.
for
You
breaking
like
that
that?
down for me.
My future wish list item is the food synthesizer. If carbs, fat, proteins, fats, that's all you need. If you can make a Jamie Oliver steak in 5 minutes, I am
Yes.
down for downloading a meal, a really nice one, and
A
not having to get
really
it cooking.
nice one.
So
Good point. I
that's
forgot
what I'm
about
gonna go
that.
for.
I like that one as well.
All right. I look forward to spending more time in this alternate universe and this alternate afterlife. There's a lot of going on here. This is very meta. But we're gonna have to call it for now. We'll
Okay.
be back in a couple of hours to cover a few more episodes. We're just gonna
Yep.
dive right into this
We're
amazing
gonna get it
premise.
in. Looking forward
So
to
if
it.
you're at home, thank you for watching. We appreciate you guys making us the ESPN of TV Talk. We appreciate liking and subscribing, ringing bells, giving us 5 stars, all of that jazz.
Yep.
Watch a few more episodes, and in another hour or two, we'll be back at 7 p.m. And until then, Kitty, where can everyone find you online?
Look me up
Since
on
that is what this show is
IG.
about.
Kitty KaBoom, KITTIEKABOOM on IG, and Twitter, I'm Kitty Meow.
All right. And you guys can find my digital presence at Twitter, Kevin Allen Says, and Instagram at Kevin Allen Graham. We'll see you in a few hours.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.